Hey everybody, it's Jason. Welcome back to Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape. This is part 5. So if you haven't watched the previous videos, just a quick rundown in case you want to jump back and watch them. Video 1, we kind of went through the concept of the game as well as basic rules and how to kind of play through and get through the game. Video 2, part 2, we went through all the different components and all the different kind of stuff that's in the game. You can kind of look at the different tokens, boards, things like that. Part 3, we went through all of the hero characters, their classes, how each different class worked and differentiated in different skill trees, and things like that. Part 4, we went through all the bad guys. So we went through all the mobs, the leaders, the minions, which like their miniatures, their different cards, their different levels, the roaming monsters, and finally the bosses. This is part 5, and it'll be the conclusion video for the base game. Hopefully all the expansions won't be nearly as long, because there won't be as much content in each box. We're going to go through all of the items. So when I start getting to each item card, I'm going to probably just show them off, and I'm not going to read every single piece of text, because this is the stack of common items. And this is the, each stack is about the same. I have uncommon, or I have common, rare, and epic, and each one are about the same size. Plus we have 3 stacks of mob items, and we don't want this video to be a 4-hour video with me reading everything. But to start off, we're going to look at door cards. How do door cards work, first of all? So whenever you enter a brand new room that has a closed door and you open the door, you are going to do a couple of things. You're going to reveal a chamber. So draw and resolve a door card, spawn enemies, and place treasure. So you're going to draw one of these door cards, and you're going to do whatever it says. And this then makes it so, like, even though I can look in this room, I can see there is a mob, and I can see there are 3 treasures. Or I can see there's a treasure in this actual room, which is how this one starts out, which is why it's in yellow. Or, sorry, it has 2 treasures. There are the stated ones in there, sorry. I know it's kind of in that room what to expect, but I don't know what the treasures are. I don't know what mob's going to be in there. But you also open up a door, it gives you an extra little bonus. So if we open up this one, for example, it's going to say Enemy Barracks. Spawn the next mob with an additional 1 minion if possible. Keep this card close to the mob deck as a reminder. So that way you know why there's 5 instead of 6, or 5 instead of 4, just in case you are, well, crap, did we put an extra guy down? So it gives you an extra little bonus to, like, so every room can be a little bit different. So if I play the same campaign, I play the same tutorial campaign like 3 times with 3 different groups of characters or people, every time I enter the one or 2 rooms that are in there, the one room, it's always going to be a little bit different just because of this one card and the randomness of the mobs and the randomness of the mob items. So even though you play the same story or level over and over and over, it's always going to have a little differences every time, which make this very interesting. And then what you want to do is spawn enemies. So you draw your mob card or your roaming monster, depending if it's a roaming monster. And then you draw and you put your treasure tokens down for each number of treasures there are. And it's as simple as that. So we'll look at what all of the doors do. And we'll kind of read through these. So we have Enemy Barracks. I think there are 30 of these, so there are definitely some options. We have a Gust of Mana. So each hero on this tile gains 2 mana. The Unexpected Chapel. Each hero on this tile heals 2. Empty Room. Remove all roaming monsters. I believe that one's roaming monsters. There's, I think there's, or might be mob. Enemy spawn token. So it's the same thing. The portals are the bigger ones. So the enemy spawn token and chamber event. So that's kind of neat. So you can enter that, might not even be an enemy in there. We could have a fountain room. Place a fountain token in the furthest zone of this chamber if possible. The bear trap room. Add 1 bear trap token in the zone straddling the door inside the chamber if possible. Cramped room. Place 2 treasures and 1 spawn token in the furthest zone of this chamber. Invigorating wing. The active hero gains 1 action this turn. Chasing the weak. Spawn 1 mob in a zone adjacent to the hero with the least health. Choose the player in the zone. Remove all spawns from this chamber if possible. The Wheatstone room. The active hero may keep this card until the end of the quest and discard it when attacking to gain +1 orange die. The Warp room. The active hero may choose another hero and place them in their zone, provided the other hero agrees. Kind of mean if you didn't agree. Hey, I'm gonna steal you. Spike trap room. Add 1 spike trap to the zone, straggling the door inside the chamber if possible. The Dark Force room. If there's any roaming monsters in the dungeon, choose 1 and replace its card from 1 tier higher if possible. The Cursed Chamber. Each hero takes 1 wound unless they spend 1 mana. The Courage Aura Chamber. Active hero may keep this until the end of quest. When they attack, they gain 2 yellow die. Repair room. Keep till the end of the quest. They can gain +1 defense. Hell's Army. Spawn 1 mob on each portal. Place an additional treasure token from the treasure bag on each mob spawn this way, but then remove all mobs from this chamber. So spawn for the points instead of being hiding in that room. Portal door. Spawn 1 mob on any portal. Forbidden room. Spawn 1 roaming monster in the same room, or the same zone as the hero with the most health, and flip back a spent Lifebringer token if possible. Remove 1 mob from this chamber. So that's kind of neat. You get your health token back. Hell's Call. Spawn 1 roaming monster on a roaming portal. Remove the spawn token. Ambush. Spawn 1 mon in the hero's active zone. Remove the spawn. Instead of removing the spawn because it might be like 3 doors in versus now they're right on top of you. So you don't get options like, oh crap, I gotta fight those skeletons and they're 3 zones away. I'm gonna avoid this room for now. Nope, now they're right on top of you. Fire Chamber. The active hero all mobs spawn gain 1 fire. I hope that sets the mobs on fire. Twin Chambers. After revealing this chamber, open the closest chamber and reveal it as well. Don't draw a door card for the second chamber. The Light Chamber. Move the darkness marker back 1 space if possible without applying the darkness track effects. Repeat any darkness track effects once it advances. The Enemy Plan. Spawn 1 mob on any portal. Remove the enemy spawn. Blood Ritual Room. Discard all enemy spawns without effect. Spawn a roaming monster in the furthest zone. All zones in this chamber with treasure reveal 1 additional treasure token. Weapon Cache Room. The next mob you spawn comes with a mob item of 1 tier higher if possible. Keep this close to the mob deck as a reminder. The Learning Room. Active hero gains 3 XP. Discard all treasure in this chamber without adding any treasure tokens. Frozen Chamber. Active hero and mob spawns take 1 frost. And finally, the Treasure Trap Room. The active hero takes 2 wounds. All zones in this chamber treasure gain 1 additional treasure token. Yes, that's fun. 30 different ones. I mean, some are not super different, but it gives you a bunch of options. Being the fact is, I think most, I'm gonna guess, let's see, this one map has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looks like maybe 7 or 8 at the most for rooms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So at most maybe like 10 in any given quest. So even like 1 quest, you're not going to draw a lot of these unless you somehow reclose doors. Alright, we're going to start looking at equipment. So we're going to start, we're going to look at mob equipment first. Actually, no. Let's start with the starting equipment. So this is what your heroes start with. They're going to be these hand cards. So your characters are going to start with these cards. So here's our hero board. So if I back this up for a sec. So this is what our hero board normally looks like when we start the game. Then what you do is every character is going to get one of these batted leather armors, which has 2 sides to it. So if you're a little bit higher level, you can start that. So if you're going to start the game on a higher campaign level, you get that right away. Like they knew that if you're going to play the campaign, you're going to have it. They didn't want to include a second set of armor in there, which is kind of like, oh, this also comes with 5 starting cards. Should have been kind of weird. So what it does is, now, they're all going to have an armor symbol on there. So you do is you place that in your armor slot. And then now everyone gets to start with at least 1 armor, gives them 1 die. These, trays here are really nice because they're kind of angled on the outside. So like if I put this here, if I need to get that out, you can kind of just slide it right out. Works really nice. And then plus they're also big enough, if you do sleeve these, they give you room. There's a hero card, your item cards for your different hands and stuff. Then you're going to do is you're going to have a selection of different weapons. So they're all 1- or 2-handed weapons, so you can put them up in your top front slot here. So this is how a starting board is basically going to look, except that would be at 0. So you start at 0 XP, level 1, hero, that, and there you go. And then you also get 1, I believe you start with 1 consumable, which is either a mana or a health potion, which we'll look at those in just a second. But that's how your board starts out. And then now we'll actually look at the items themselves. So all your armor, trying to get this to focus better, sorry. Yep, so the battered leather armor, we have 6 copies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies, so 1 for each player. Just gives you 1 defense. And then if you do play the campaign and you start higher, it just also says on attack, you get a reroll 1 black die. So you kind of get a defensive, maybe avoiding a free hit. But everyone gets to start with that no matter what. Then you get it as a group, you get to decide who gets what weapons. So we have an Ash Wand, so this would be a magical attack with 1 yellow die. Or you can spend 1 mana to gain 1 extra sword. We have a Dagger, so if you spend mana, the defender gets -1 defense. A Wooden Staff, where you can get just 1 extra mana. But it's a 2-handed weapon, so it does might make a difference as well. We have the bow, or the short bow, which gives you some different options for attacking. A crude axe, which is 2-handed, but it also gives you an orange die. The rusty sword lets you reroll. The mystic or magical ocarina lets you heal for 1. And the tribal spear cannot perform attacks beyond range 2. So it does give you ranged attack, but not quite ranged attack. Yeah, so it's different fun. You get all these different options, so each player can kind of pick what weapon maybe suits their play style, range. But also remind you of starting equipment. Hopefully you're going to get these. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if you have 6 players, you're going to have a couple left over. And then we have 3 mana potions. So each player gets 1 of these potions. You can get a mana potion, which will let you... It's a consumable, so if you use it once and it goes away. So you get 1 chance to either gain 2 mana, or we have a health potion which heals you for 3. So again, it might depend on what character you're playing, depending on which one you might want. Alright, now we're going to look at mob equipment, and then we'll look at the regular treasure. So the mob equipment, if you saw our video with the enemies, if you watched that one, so they're level 1 to 2, 3 to 4, or level 5. And basically how mob equipment work is they work like any other piece of equipment, except when you play them, the bottom part slides under an enemy card and they get those stats. But then when you defeat them, you gain this card. So they're not going to be as necessarily as good or as great as the your treasure cards. They might have as special abilities or high as attack, but those are basic equipment. You defeat an enemy, you're at least going to get something for it. So here we have a crossbow. A couple of these are duplicates. So we're just going to kind of fly through these a little bit quicker. We have precision bows. So that's your first range attack. And gain some extra die. Skeleton blades. Lets you spend mana to heal. We got 2 undead swords. Get you extra die. Got 2 stone knuckles, which lets you ignore the first slash attack. Two primeval clubs. If you took at least 1 wound in this attack, deal 1 wound to the defender. 2 serrated daggers. Gets defender gets -1 defense. 2 stabs of darkness. Spend mana to gain a die. 2 stabs of mana. To actually gain extra die. And then, for whatever reason, we only get 1 copy of the heavy hammer. Which lets you add 1 attack. So those are our things. Now they're going to have, on the back they're going to be orange to match the mob. But on the front they're going to be green to match your common items. So they're treated as common items for all intents and purposes outside of that. So then our mob items level 3 to 4 are going to be rares. They're blue. So we have Soul Eater. So you're going to get a little bit more involved. Ranged attack, you get to ignore that. We have 2 Devil's Crossbows. Devil's Bow. If you go Shadow Attack. 2 Snake Eyes. 2 Fire Chains. Move the defender 1 zone towards you. If you do, add fire damage to them. A Ritual Skull. When you kill an enemy with a magic attack, deal 3 wounds to another enemy in the dungeon. That's crazy. I mean, it's not a very powerful weapon, but... Wand of the Dead. We have 3 Tainted Swords. Lets the defender minus defense. 2 of these Skull Scythes. Each rolled mana may be used as attack instead. 2 Skull Axes. The defender suffers damage instead of you. That's nice. And then 3 Devil Swords. Alright. Up next, we have the level 5s. So we have, these are epic levels. So we have 2 Blade Knuckles. So now you get a little bit better stacks, better dice rolls, a little bit better abilities. But again, the mob only just uses the numbers on the bottom, not the ability part. But here, pay 1 mana to ignore 2 defense. The Dragon Crossbow. Add fire to the defender. 2 Hunter Crossbows. To flip any 1 result. Flip 1 result, that's crazy. Enhanced Pike. Deal 2 wounds to another enemy in the same or adjacent zone. Got 2 Devil's Horns. That's cool. Pay 1 mana to add 1 attack infinite. So you can do this as much as you have mana. The 4 Elements Wand. Pay mana to choose to add either frost or fire to the defender in one zone or ignore one claw. Nice. So add one frost, add one fire, move the defender, or ignore one. That's cool. These epic ones are definitely worth it. 2 soul collectors. Attack. If you kill a leader or a roaming monster, heal 3 damage. 1 of the demon tridents. Deal 1 wound to the defender and heal 1 damage. A death axe. Attack. After combat, if a leader or roaming monster is in your zone at 3 or less health, kill it. 2 soul diffusers. Take 1 wound, deal 2 damage to the defender. 2 demonic fans. Deal 2 wounds to each other enemy in the same zone. And the immortal sword. Heal 2 per enemy miniature killed in this attack. So those are the mob items that you can pick up. And again, lots of randomness that you can get. And they only go 1 towards each thing. There's only, I think 6 mobs. So at most you're only going to have 6 of those. 6 of each, maybe each, not even tier unless you have something that replaces it. If you only have 6 total, there's a lot of replayability there. Alright, then we're going to jump into our regular common items. So the common items you'll have, that's what their treasure token looks like. So if you pull from the bag, after you defeat something or find loot a room with that, and it shows that picture, you get to draw 1 of these. Alright, what do we got here? Let's start with some consumables. We could pick up some consumable items, which is fun. If we get a focus potion, let's just get 2 rerolls. Experience charm, gets you some extra 3 XP. Sprint potion, move up to 2 zones. Throwing knives, deal 3 wounds to an enemy in a line of sight. Forge gate spell, place your hero in the closest forge spot. Explosive flask, deal 1 wound to each enemy in an adjacent zone. The endurance potion, gain 3 defense dice. Strength, gain 2 orange dice. Stamina potion, gain an extra action. We got 2 greater mana potions, so let's just gain 3 mana. And we got 4 greater healing potions, which will let us heal for 5. Yeah, so definitely cool to add some extra consumables in there. I want to find one other thing in here before we look at the rest of the items. Alright. Now move those guys. I'm going to zoom out for a sec. So, we have the forge. Heroes may interact with a forge token by spending 1 MP as usual. Perform a single craft in the forge. They must discard 3 items, then draw 1 item card, 1 tier higher than that of the lowest card discarded. So, common, rare, epic. For example, if a hero discards 1 epic and 2 rare cards, they draw an epic card. Because the lowest cards is rare, so you draw an epic. For forge purpose, starting items and consumables are considered commons. Heroes may spend multiple movement points in 1 action to craft multiple times. So that's kind of the thing. You're thinking like, oh, I kill all these mobs and I gain their treasures on their cards. Plus I gain the other cards. What am I going to do with all this stuff? You can go to the forge. You basically can craft extra items. So like right off the bat, hey, I picked up, some better armor, and I got 2 weapons. Now I don't need all these, or I don't need multiple. Trade them to other players, give them to other teammates to help them out. Or you could be like, hey, I can get rid of my 2 common items, starting item, something else, and at least gain a 1 better item. So, like, killing multiple things and looting treasures and getting this stuff is definitely helpful to gain better items. I just wanted to point that out, just so we knew, like, well, there's, like, so many items. Why have so many? Just variety. Alright, our commons are Grimoire. You reroll a die. Scroll of Enhancement. You may use the ability of of an equipped magic item, so let's use a different one. The loot attack, each hero in your zone gains 1 mana. Sling, range attack, reroll for each one of your previous attacks this round. Longbow, reroll. Sight, again, commons don't have a lot of special effects on them. Gain 1 mana and heal 1 for each minion killed by this attack. The Bone Crusher, reroll a black die. The Big Freaking Great Sword, the BFG as it were. I kind of wish that was an epic item though. Just with high attack and nothing else. Ring Blade, attack if you kill a leader, perform a free action. Bone Knuckles, pay 1 mana to ignore a defense die. The Morning Star. The Serrated Axe, ignore a damage defender suffers it instead of you. Double Axe. The Arming Sword. A Short Sword. Skull Amulet. So these are accessories now. So these are just as an accessory slot, so they get extra bonuses. Kill a leader if there are no minions in that mob. Mana Ring, spend an action. This is one of your action points to gain 3 extra mana. Silver Ring lets you heal for 3. The Mana Gloves, first time you gain mana each round, gain 1 extra. Leather Gloves, spend a mana to reroll. Quiver, ranged attacks gain a yellow die. Got some armor here. Defense, plus mana. You get 2 monk robes. We have 2 plate armors. Gets us some extra defense there. Plus the extra defense dice. We got 3 studded leather armors. Just 2 defense dice. We have some feet. Some shoes here. We have leather sandals. Combat. You may move 1 zone after combat. These are also pants as well. The Rugged Kilt. Spend to reroll 2 black dice. The Leather Hose gets you some extra defense. Thief's Hood, in the shadows you get 1 extra attack. Steel Helm, extra defense is from helms. Leather Helm lets you reroll black dice. And a Shield for extra defense. It also takes up your other hands if you want to use 1 hand and 1 shield. Of course makes sense. Our rare treasures, which are blue with like the little ring picture on them. We're going to get some accessories right off the bat. The Seer's Amulet. Anytime, which is the top of the roaming monster deck once per round, you may place the card at the bottom of the deck. Sun Amulet. Defense, rolling attack dice once per... Rerolling attack dice. Demonic Ring. Deal a roaming monster as many wounds as it dealt in an attack. Got 2 runic rings. Move 1 mob, 1 line in one. Move 1 mob in line of sight 1 zone. So bring them towards you, move them away. Got some heavy gauntlets. Get some extra attack. Demonic gauntlets. Add 1 fire to the defender. 2 steel gauntlets. Pay 1 mana to add a die. Got 2 poison arrows. Deal 1 wound to the defender. We got some armor here. Magical Robes lets you gain some extra mana during defense. 2 Elven Vests lets you gain some extra defense die, like permanent defense. 3 cuirasses. 3 defense dice. We got some feats. We got Leprechaun Slippers. Take the attacking mob's item, which is crazy because then they have less dice. Leprechaun Kilt. Cancel the mob's ability for this combat. 2 Greaves. Get some extra rerolls. A Demonic Mask. Take 1 wound to ignore the black dice. Got 2 Thieves' Scarves. In the shadows, we get to do some extra rerolls. 2 Horned Helms. Extra rerolls on defense. And we're gonna get some more shields. We got the Skull Shield. We got a Crusader Shield, which lets you heal. 2 Commander Shields. You may use 1 defense or block 1 claw attack. Some Throwing Axes. If you already performed an attack this turn, +1 attack, or yellow die. The Javelin. Perform 2 attacks once per round. You may target different enemies. Seer of the Future. Magic attack. Reroll all defending dice that weren't blank. Frost Staff. Add some frost abilities. Fire Staffs and add some fiery. We have some Inspiring Drums. The next hero this round gains +2 attack. Royal Mace. Dual Wield. So Dual Wield lets you use these attacks with a 2-handed weapon, I believe. So Royal Mace, attack, ignore 1. Berserker Sword, wounded 3, attack, gets +1 orange die. Flaming Sword, add 1 fire to attack. Action, immediately resolve all fire using orange instead. A Dragon Die, or Dragon Sword, add some fire. Double Flail, double the wounds dealt. Drop that one. The Ring Mace, attack, kill 1 defending minion. That's a strip. Just kill a defending minion. Don't even want to deal with them. And then the Runic Sword. Shadow, get 1 extra orange die. Alright, so I want to just back out for a sec and look at some of these. So we have some of these abilities. So, Wounded X, like I would say Wounded 3, in order to trigger this ability, the hero must currently have taken at least X wounds. So you have to hit. And then Dual Wield, this ability can only be triggered when a hero is using 2 weapons to attack. So if you have a shield or a 2-handed weapon, it doesn't work. I think that's the only other one we really needed to look at, was those ones. Alright. Just wanted to point out what those did, because they kind of came up and we haven't dealt with them in anything else. Alright. Now we're going to look at our epic treasures. You guys have lots of crazy abilities on them. Some accessories. Heavenly Charm. Anytime a hero in the gun, or heal any hero in the dungeon, by 2. The Demonic Amulet. Kill a roaming monster with less than 15 health. Destroy this amulet. That's worth it to get rid of one of those guys. Death Ring. Kill 1 minion on your tile once per round. The Limitless Gauntlet. Oh, doesn't that look familiar? Take 5 wounds. Action. Spend 3 mana. Kill half the minions in each mob in the dungeon. Rounded down. Don't gain XP from this action. That is hilarious. I have not seen this before. That is the Thanos, the Infinity Gauntlet. That's funny. Golden Gauntlets. Gain you some extra defense, or rerolls, rerolls and black dice even. The Mighty Gloves. Spend up to 3 mana to ignore that many black dice. 2 copies of the Golden Breastplate. Just 4 defense. 2 copies of the Eternal Robe. When you spend a Lightburner token, you may spend 3 mana to immediately bring it back, flip it back. Ooh, that's helpful. 2 copies of Spiked Armor. 2 wounds to the attacker. And we're going to get some leggings. We have some 2 Golden Greaves. Some spiked boots, deal 1 wound to the attacker. You put the spiked boots on and the spiked armor, and look at that. Now you're going to be able to start doing a lot of damage. Defense, you're going to deal 2. You attack, you can do an extra damage. So you get make some little sets in here and do some interesting stuff. 2 heavy greaves. We got some helms here. We have 2 prime helms. In the shadow, you can ignore 2 claws. We have 2 dragon masks. Add 3 fire to an enemy. 2 of the Praetorian helms. Add 1 defense or 1 shield, and then deal 1 wound to the attacker. Some fun weapons here. We have 2 bladed shields. Deal 2 wounds to the attacker. 2 Soulkeeper shields. You may discard mana instead of health. Basically, you can suck your mana away instead of taking damage. 2 piercing javelins. Deal 1 damage to wound the defender. Oh, got 3 of those, sorry. Then we have a angelic flute. Heal each hero in your tile by 2. And then finally, the golden axe. Double your attack. You'll notice for some of these items are might not seem correct for the classes that we have. Like demonic items or instruments, because they're for other characters in the expansions. They basically tried to include some of their items that would theme well with them characters. Alright, so then the last bunch of items we have are some rares and some epics, but what these are set items. So what we have here are Shadowbane. So this is set item equipment. So 1 for each class. And then we have items that go with them. So if we look at our Shadowbane Wizard card. So what this is going to do is if you have 2 of these set items, you get the minor power. And the expansions do add other set items as well. So if you're familiar with RPGs, you collect a certain set of special items, you get extra bonuses. And that's what these are. They didn't want to have way too many of these because it'd be too hard to try and collect mixed in. But this actually makes it kind of fun that they did add some in here. So it says the first time you would gain this minor power, choose a previously placed lower ranked wizard card and place it on your amulet. So basically you can collect 2 of these items, you can get reuse one of your extra abilities, and then the greater power, the chosen skill costs 1 less mana. If you have 4 or more. Alright, so before I jump into all of these, we're gonna look at some of these items first. So what we have, we have the rare, so these will be mixed in with the rare treasures. Is we have 2 copies of the Divine Gauntlet. So it says Shadowbane set. So they're going to give you 1 extra yellow die. We have 2 copies of the Hero Greaves, which in the light you gain, for defense, you ignore 1 die. And 2 copies of the Gleaming Helm. In the light, pay 2 mana. After combat, heal equal to the wounds dealt. So there's 6 of these total, and there's 3 sets, so that means if you're playing a 4-player game, there's no way that anyone's going to get can get 2 sets of each of these. You can only make 3 sets. So that basically says 1 player wouldn't be able to have a set of armor this way. But what then they also did was then, these are your regular rares. Then they have epics as well. So in the epics, we're going to get 2 copies of the armor. So now you could potentially make a 4 set with just generic items. Your helm, your legs, your accessories, and your armor piece. So basically your set of armor. So this is the Oracular Armor. So the first time any one hero equips this item, they gain a skill of a lower level. Yeah, so that's kind of helpful. So basically you can like re-recruit your stuff. So you have 2 copies of those as well. So now at this, that means all 4 players can potentially have a full set of 4 armor. No problem. Then what they also did, which is really fun, is each character gets their own special weapon. So we just looked at what the wizard card does. So let's look at the wizard's special item. So he has the wizard's radiant staff for the wizards only. In the light, the attack double the mana from dice results. So the wizard's going to gain a lot of extra mana. So we're going to look at each one of these cards separately. Alright, so the Shadowbane Berserker, with 2 items they have, can equip 1 melee weapon, a 2-handed weapon as a single weapon. So basically you can use that. And then instead, the Berserker can equip up to 2 two-handed melee weapons as single weapons. So now you can dual wield 2-handed weapons. In addition, whenever they kill a leader or roaming monster, they gain 2 rage. So not just take damage, they gain extra rage immediately. Then their special item is, of course, going to be a 2-handed Berserker Shining Axe. In the light, whenever you gain mana, you may gain rage instead. So it's going to definitely fuel them. So like the wizard's going to gain mana to help spend on their abilities. The Berserker's going to gain more powerful weapons that they can use, as well as rage abilities. The Ranger. When drawing arrow cards in an attack, you may draw 2 and discard 1. So it'll help you get to your 7 a lot easier. And then instead when drawing arrows, you may draw 2 and discard 1. Oh, so the person when you're drawing arrows in an attack, and then the greater ones is whenever you're drawing arrows, regardless of when you need to draw them. That is cool. Definitely helpful. And then we're going to get the Ranger's Illuminated Bow. Ranger only. Of course, light attack one attack per arrow card revealed arrow card. The more cards you can reveal, the more damage you can do. The Shadowbane Rogue. During one action, the rogue can consider a shadow zone as both a light and shadow per zone. Instead, shadow zones are always considered both light and shadow zones for rogue. So that way if they ever need to be in, it just basically lets them be as the rogue can be in the shadows, but they can also be considered to be in the light for any time they need to do something that affects the light as well. It's just kind of a neat thing, so they get to play in both worlds. They can stay in the shadows with gaining benefits from light. So Rogue's Bright Dagger says each rogue token also grants 1 reroll for their action. So they can hide in the shadows with this, and then they can still get extra rerolls anywhere they are. Alright, we have the Paladin. Paladin may bless 1 additional skill per round, and then it says all the Paladin skills are blessed. Do not flip them back. That is crazy because you get the extra bonus no matter what. And they are going to get a shield, the Paragon Shield. Heroes in concentrated zones gain combat, ignore 1 black die. Definitely helpful, especially since you can have 3 of those out. That can be super helpful. And then finally, we have the Shadowbane Shaman. Gains 1 mana from the Spirit's attack rolls. Gains 1 mana from the Spirit's attack rolls. In addition, Spirits do not cost any mana to be Earth mana to be summoned. You basically can summon them for free. So then even makes them better to throw them out to let them die. And then we have the Glimmering Wand. The first time you spend an element, each round you gain any other 2 elements. That is crazy. But again, these items only work if you're in the light. So you have to kind of counter 2 of you trying to be in the shadows for some of their other abilities. But yeah, that's really fun. So yes, these are the Shadowbane sets. In the Heavenfall campaign box, there's also I don't remember the name. I think it's a Hellfire and Frost something. There's a fire one and there's an ice one as well. So you get to play with them. So that's kind of cool. You get an extra 2 sets of equipment. You buy the expansions when you get the new characters and the new classes. You gain all their items and everything as well. I also kind of leads to the fact that they could make some really cool little tiny expansions for this if they ever did want to. I don't know if they will. Usually, these big games like this don't always have extra expansions. I know Zombicide keeps doing, but I don't think the original Massive Darkness got anything extra, so I don't know if this one will either, unless it sells really well. But that'd be cool, because you could add an extra expansion where maybe you add like a Darkness set. That would be kind of cool. For all the characters. Although it does make it hard to release extra content for this, because if you release that, you'd have to... If you release any new mobs or monsters, or anything basically, if you release new mobs or monsters, you'd have to add up to the level 5, so people that didn't own Heavenfall would have extra cards they couldn't use, kind of like the other expansions. And the same thing if you added an extra legendary equipment or set equipment. You'd have to add cards for all these other classes that people might not be able to get, even if they're Kickstarter. Because otherwise, it wouldn't be fair to be like, hey, I got one for the first 6 classes, your other 4 classes or 3 classes don't get anything. So it'd be neat to do, but you almost have to run it as like a second Kickstarter campaign, and then people could do it that way. I don't know if that would work or not, but it'd be fun. I'd definitely love to see more content for stuff like this, because it could be really cool to add additional things, or maybe even like class-specific starting items that you could potentially use if you wanted to change up the game later on. Alright, so that's what we have for Massive Darkness 2 Hellscape. This is the core box set, so you can check out the other 4 videos if you haven't to see all the other content. Then check out the other following videos, which will be the Hellfall campaign, as well as the enemy box expansions, the boss expansions. We had some more bosses, we had some more enemies, plus there are some versus boxes, which had new classes and some more roaming monsters to fight. Plus all the Kickstarter exclusive stuff that we'll eventually look at as well.